Hi everyone, welcome to Chakravarti Science Academy Just a Minute series where every minute counts in unlocking the secrets to master your board examination. Today we will talk about pedigree analysis, X-linked recessive and X-linked dominant. In the last video, if you remember, we discussed about autosomal dominant versus autosomal recessive. Today we will talk about X-linked dominant versus X-linked recessive. So let's see the similarities and differences. So first thing, the disease never transmits from male to male, means father to son. Both points are common for both of them, for the X-linked dominant and X-linked recessive. It never transmits from male to male, because if father to son disease transmits, that will be a Y-linked disease, and we know that. Second, we will observe a crisscross inheritance where the male transmits it to female and the mother transmits to son. So you can see that in both the cases, there will be a possibility of a crisscross inheritance where mother transmits to son and father transmits to daughter in both the cases. Now, coming to the next point, you will see because it is a dominant trait, there will be no carrier. Only one allele is enough. If there is a dominant allele, the disease will going to happen. There will be no carrier. But in the recessive, X-linked recessive, it is a two alleles are required to create the effect. That is why there will be a female carrier. Okay, we will have the female carrier because the female carries two X chromosome. Male has only one X chromosome, so male can be affected, but female can be a carrier if this X chromosome has this recessive mutant gene. You can see that mutant allele small a because it is recessive. Examples, so examples are vitamin D resistance ricket. That will be the example of X-linked dominant. For X-linked recessive, it is mentioned in the NCERT. You need to remember color blindness and hemophilia. It is very, very important. Now we will talk about some more genotype of both the traits. So now we will talk about the genotype for both the traits. So first we will talk about the X-linked dominant trait. So in the X-linked dominant trait, like I have told, it is a dominant trait. So the X chromosome will have the mutant gene in dominant. So that is why we are writing it in uppercase alphabet. So this is the affected mutant gene on the X chromosome. Now we will see in the case of affected female, what we can see, a female has, if she has one of the dominant allele, the mutant allele on the X chromosome, it will be affected. Like I said, only one allele is enough to cause the disease. Now, in the case of unaffected, and this is the heterozygous where she has both the X chromosome with the affected mutant allele, both are dominant. And in the case of unaffected female, what we can see, there is the recessive one is there, which is, you can see that the X chromosome has the recessive allele. That means it is unaffected. To cause the disease, we need this, the uppercase A, which we are indicating. Now, in case of affected male, males have only one X chromosome, and you see it has the uppercase one, so it is affected. If it is a smaller case recessive one, it is unaffected. Now we will talk about the X-linked recessive trait. So in the recessive trait, what you can see in the case of affected female, what we can see recessive for causing the effect, we require both the recessive allele because it is not a dominant trait where one allele is enough to express the character. So here we require both the alleles. So until and unless we have both the allele, which is a recessive one, on the X chromosome, you will see this mutant gene, the small a, that is indicating the mutant gene. So both is required, then only the female can be affected. Otherwise, if at least one is there, so this is basically our carrier. You can see that this can be the carrier, okay, because only females have two X chromosome where one is affected but the other is normal. That is why in this disease we see generally males are affected, females are safe. Rarely we see females are affected when both the alleles are faulty, both of them. And in the case of unaffected, that will be the other combination where she has dominant allele, not the recessive one, the mutant one. Okay, so this is the carrier. Let's talk about the males. So in the affected male may have only one X chromosome, and if it has the recessive one, it's enough to cause the disease. But how males are normal? Males can be normal if it is having a dominant one, not the recessive. Then they will not have this disease. Okay, so based on what we have learned about X-linked dominant and X-linked recessive, let's try to crack this question. So in this question, there's a pedigree analysis is given and we have generation 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now let's understand what will be the one of the option. So first of all, you can observe here the parents are not affected, but the children is affected. Again, here the parent is not affected, but the children is affected. Parents are not affected, but the children are affected. Parents are not affected, but the children are affected. See, now in such case, we know it's a recessive character. It's not a dominant. Now, the question is whether it's going to be a sex-linked recessive or whether it's going to be a autosomal recessive. So first of all, understand in sex-linked recessive, I have told males have only one X chromosome. It means males are generally more affected. First of all, if you see, only the males are affected. Okay, this is a very good hint to mark the answer, that is sex-linked recessive. See, I'm not denying the fact that it can't be a autosomal recessive. It can be, but the question is asking most likely. In such case, you have to select only one of the option. So with our theory, we will go with sex-linked recessive because we can see only and only the males are affected. So let's talk about one more question based on what we have learned. So another pedigree analysis we can see it's given where you can see it's very interesting actually. Why? Because you can see first of all the female, the mother is transmitting the disease to all the kids. You can see that. Now in this case also in the second generation this mother is affected and she is also transmitting the disease to all their kids. Now if you see one more interesting thing, this mother in the third generation is affecting the disease to all the kids. But if you see the affected father is not transmitting the disease. If you can see, this male is not transmitting the disease to their kids. Here also, the male is not transmitting the disease to their kids. So see, in such cases, it's neither the X-linked or the Y-linked. Okay. Why it is so? Because the mother is transmitting the disease to all their kids. Okay. And the father, the affected father is not transmitting. And this pattern is carried out for all the generation. So in such cases, it's a special type of inheritance disease. We call it as cytoplasmic inheritance, where what we see that in the cell organelles like mitochondria or the cytoplasm, the mutant gene is present. So that is why we will go with the answer mitochondrial. So hence the answer will be mitochondrial. Okay guys, so last question. You can see they're asking about the family pedigree of Queen Victoria, the royal family of England. Queen Victoria family, they had a number of hemophilic people who were suffering from hemophilia in the generations. So the question is asking, was she affected by the disease? She was the carrier of the disease. She did not carry the allele for the hemophilia, was not a queen. So I want you all to please give the answer in the comment below and don't forget to share with your friends who may need it. Bye-bye.